Hello and welcome to Beyond the Boundary. आप देख रहे हैं TUI Sports and today we are going to start a build up to the India England T20 series, 5 match T20 series which starts off tomorrow. And of course it's going to lead up to a whole season of white ball cricket. आपके पास ODI series है, then Champions Trophy, then the IPL is coming up. It's going to be some time before we have red ball cricket once again. So let's start the show and build up to the T20 series. To talk about that with me, we have Chandresh Narayanan, we have Saurav Somani, and we have Gaurav Gupta from the TUI. Welcome to the show, guys. Chandresh,
Thank you.
let's get started with you. It's a home series, India, England, flat tracks, white ball cricket. How excited are you for the action?
Uh, I think I am excited, but not the ballers are not excited because it's going to be plenty of runs, plenty of dew, and it's going to be plenty of action throughout this 8 matches. More importantly, I think these five T20 matches are going to see how much the Indian T20 setup has changed in the last 1 year, especially since winning the T20 World Cup. They've been on a roll. This will be the toughest challenge in my view for the T20 setup. It'll be a good challenge for Surya Kumar Yadav and his team, and it will test some of the selections that Ajit Agarkar and company have made in the T20 setup since the end of the T20 World Cup. So it's going to be exciting because of that.
And there's another angle to it. Now, Brendan McCullum is also going to be leading England. So, in terms of their coaching setup, that's been the major change. He's taking control of the white ball formats as well for England. So now you're going to see baseball in white ball cricket for England as well. So probably increases that element of, as you said, कि difficult रहेगा. तो वो element आ जाएगा वहाँ पे. Um, you talked about the fact that the T20 setup उसमें कितना बड़ा change आया है, कितना बड़ा difference आया है. That has been the one format. अगर हम कहें कि गौतम गंभीर as a coach और अजीत अगरकर with his selections, his selection panel, they've had the most influence क्योंकि वहाँ पे अब आपके पास जो senior जो superstars हैं, you don't have to contend with them. So यहाँ पे you can give a new direction to Indian cricket in that particular format. I think that is one of the major aspects that brings the T20 format to the fore. Saurabh, what are your thoughts on this series and the fact that this element is going to be there? The impact of, especially the impact of somebody like Gautam Gambhir, is so evident in the T20 format.
Yeah, I think I have said this before. I really love the direction in which the T20 team is going. I think I like the selections. I like the kind of people they have picked. It is filled with people who can give you depth with batting and bowling, they have concentrated on batters who actually have that explosiveness to them. They have not gone for just runs, which is I think vital. You have 10 wickets to lose in 20 overs. It should be a no brainer that you just pick batters who can go all out. But so far, for whatever one reason or the other, it was not always like that. But I think this team is moving in that direction. And you add a fit Jasprit Bumrah to this, then you have also a bowling attack that looks really good, and a batting attack that has depth. So I really like where the T20 team is going, and I can't wait to see how they go. And I think we should be patient with this team. Like even if we lose Hargaibi against England, so it doesn't matter because the next T20 World Cup is actually the goal. Abhi se hi, I mean, it's 1 year away. Every T20 World Cup happens every 2 years, so it's not too late to start planning. So I think that should be the goal, and keeping that in mind, a few failures here and there are okay. If you have identified your core, you have identified these are the guys who are going to give us success, stick with them.
I
Yeah.
think the planning for that has already, in terms of that, is already underway. If you look at the way
Hmm.
this has been
Yeah.
executed since the Sri Lanka series, I think जो
Hmm.
Bangladesh series or South Africa series में आया सामने,
Hmm.
especially because of the Australian tour, you were able to stick with a lot of these players for consecutive series. ठीक है, there was change
Hmm.
in support staff. You had VVS Lakshman and team going to South Africa, etc. But you were able to stick to a particular core of players. Maybe a couple of them were here and there were missing क्योंकि India A का भी चल रहा था, etc. etc. But you were able to stick with a particular core, and thanks to that, I think you can see that direction. You can start, जैसे आपने कहा, you can start identifying a core. At this stage, you're just about 12 months away from the T20 World Cup, or 12 महीने पहले you have that core in front of you. I think we have that core. Gaurav, let's bring you in the conversation. Do you think we have the core in hand? ठीक है, I'm not saying that this is the entire 15 that is going to play. Obviously, there's going to be some changes here and there. शुभमन नहीं है, यशस्वी जायसवाल हमें नहीं दिखाई दे रहे हैं. ऋषभ पंत is such a big question mark. Jasprit Bumrah's fitness is a big question mark. Is Shami going to play, etc., etc. Plus, there's going to be an IPL this year as well. But do you think that we have a core in hand already?
I think good evening firstly to you and all of you. I think definitely core तो है ये core तो बिल्कुल यही है हमारे T20 World Cup team का. But as you said, there are a few names which definitely will be added going into the World Cup. Obviously, Jasprit Bumrah is one, and between Shubman, I mean Yashasvi Jaiswal definitely. Shubman Gill again question mark, but will be a tough contender going forward. But with this team, I'm pretty excited because. It has some exciting names, and I mean the interesting thing there was that they picked only two openers for me. Only Abhishek Sharma and Sanju Samson. Sanju Samson का भी देखना होगा कि काफी interesting होगा considering the controversy that he's found himself in. केरला क्रिकेट एसोसिएशन के साथ जो उनका झगड़ा हुआ है, उनको खेलने नहीं दिया वहां पर विजय हजारे में, जिसकी वजह से उनका चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी में सिलेक्शन के लिए वो कंसिडर भी नहीं किए गए, या कंसिडर किए भी गए तो उनको लेके काफी डिबेट हुई between Gautam Gambhir, coach was in favor of picking him, and the selector. That is what has been reported in the media. That the selectors were in favor of, Chief Selector Ajit Agarkar and Captain Rohit Sharma were in favor of Rishabh Pant. So how Sanju takes all this, and I think he seems to be in good spirits. Abhishek Nair के साथ गाना गा रहे थे, हमने देखा वो video about team bonding, and then he hugged the groundsman after coming to the ground in Calcutta. So I think all in all a pretty exciting squad, and lot of things will unravel during this series. Also all the protocols that the BCCI has put in place, वो भी हमें देखने को मिल रही है ऑलरेडी. टीम एक बस में जा रही है, एक बस में होपफुली हमारे कोच साहब भी जो है वो एक ही बस में, उसी बस में उनका मैनेजर नहीं जा रहा है और वो खुद जा रहे हैं. तो कई सारी चीजें हैं जो एक्साइटिंग होंगी सीरीज देखने के लिए. ऑल्सो सपोर्ट स्टाफ में भी एक एडिशन हुआ है, ये ना भूलें कि सुतांशु कोटक आए जो अपने जमाने में T20 तो क्या व्हाइट बॉल के लिए नहीं जाने जाते थे, बहुत जबरदस्त रेड बॉल प्लेयर थे, बहुत रिलायबल. मैंने उनके इनिंग्स कवर करे जहाँ 3 दिन तक उन्होंने बॉम्बे के प्लेयर्स को फील्डिंग कराई और इवेंचुअली मैच जिताया सौराष्ट्र को. I think it was a Ranji Trophy quarter final back in December 2007. But how he fits into the support staff and how he gels with the players and everybody, it's going to be interesting to see. So a lot of things that will unravel from this series.
Look, I mean, in terms of coaching, ठीक है, maybe he was not that great a white ball player, or he was more into red ball cricket. But again, it's not something that is necessary, in terms of कि आपको white ball होना ही चाहिए. ठीक है, today's players, they in terms of coaching, I mean, you can't tell them कि आप ये shot मारो या ये करो. They need more, mindset. They need more communication. They need more freedom to bat or express themselves, as is the cliche. So, okay, let's see what happens in terms of this particular, appointment in the support staff. But you've raised a lot of points here, Gaurav. Um, I mean, it's not going to be tough to adhere to those 10 points of discipline, especially when the superstars are not in the team. I mean, this is a fairly young squad. इनके साथ डिसिप्लिन का इशू इतना नहीं होना चाहिए, especially to get them coming in a bus or no. Or I think Cricket Association of Bengal has arranged only one bus.
Only
कोई
one
personal
last.
तो उन्होंने अरेंज किया ही नहीं है. तो या तो यार आप खुद ऊपर करके जाओ, या फिर आप टीम बस में जाओ. There's no other option, right? Okay, let's take a look at the schedule first, and a lot of points raised. We'll come to Sanju Samson again as well, but let's take a look at the schedule once again. It's kicking off in Kolkata tomorrow, and then we have Chennai, Rajkot, Pune, and of course Wankhede Stadium. Yes, next time onwards we need to put Mumbai over there. Wankhede, yes, of course. But yes, that's in Mumbai. The final one is in Mumbai. So 5 T20s. Chandresh, big test for Gautam Gambhir because you've lost quite a bit. Let's start from that perspective. You've lost quite a bit. आप श्रीलंका में हारे, आप घर पे एक बहुत बड़ी सीरीज हारे न्यूजीलैंड के अगेंस्ट. ठीक है, आपने बांग्लादेश को हराया इन द T20s, इन द टेस्ट्स, दैट्स ऑल फाइन. बट उसके बाद से थोड़ा सा डाउनसाइड शुरू हो चुका है. नाउ यू हैव द चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी कमिंग अप. It's important to not lose bilaterals at home. I think that is a starting point for. It's not been an easy ride for him, especially losing 3-0 at home for New Zealand for BGT. Ab Champions Trophy aa raha hai. Then you have an England tour. Then you have a 2016 T20, 26 T20 World Cup, then a 27 ODI World Cup. At some point, somebody is going to pick up the report card and say, "Ki boss, where are the victories?" So it's important not to lose bilaterals at home. Let's start with that. How important a series is this for Gautam Gambhir and his coaching staff?
I think it's important for him to get a win under his belt as a coach, a
Yeah.
series win, whether it is one day, T20, whatever it is, because that will help him as well, and also the support staff that he's picked to work much more closely. And like Saurabh and Gaurav said, it's it's kind of difficult because he's dealing with two separate teams as such, because the T20 setup is different from the ODI and Test setup to a large extent because of the presence of the senior players in those two lineups. And even in Sri Lanka, the only series that they won was the T20 series. They lost the one day series, which means that the T20 series is T20 setup. Has been doing well. They won against Bangladesh, they won against South Africa. So you'll be hoping that good form in that particular format continues. Now, how this squad's performance translates into performances of the Champions Trophy, the ODI setup, and the Test squad is what will drive Gautam Gambhir from here on. He's got some quality players in this lineup, and he'll be keeping a close eye on seeing if anybody from this team can graduate to playing for in the ODI setup and the
Hmm.
T20 and the Test setup, which will
Hmm.
be some of them are pretty much, I think, set. Like the skipper himself, Surya Kumar Yadav, I think is now been pigeonholed as a T20 cricketer. Then you've got Sanju Samson, who by default has become a T20 specialist. Abhishek Sharma, for all you know, might be only interested in playing T20 cricket. There are a few others. Varun Chakravarti, every time his name comes up for selection for the ODI setup, questions about his fielding comes up, his lack of batting skills come up. So there are lots of such players who are like now exclusively for T20 cricket without being without them coming and explicitly saying like most other players across the world come out and say. So I think that also helps in that sense, Gotham, in such a way that some of these players are exclusively for one format, but he'll certainly be keeping an eye on a few of the players in this setup so that they can probably play in the other two formats as well.
Um, Saurabh, do you agree with that? That there are certain players who could just make the step up from this squad, because उसमें एक important बात यह है कि Champions Trophy eventually could be a breather for, or a marker for the Indian team or for the BCCI to say, okay, boss, what is the future of some of the players in the ODI arena? क्योंकि आप from the Champions Trophy, I mean, yes, ODI cricket as overall is starting to lose its meaning a bit, especially in the bilateral context. But eventually, you have to start building towards the ODI World Cup. And then you ask the question, can Rohit Sharma make it? Can Virat Kohli make it? Can Mohammad Shami make it? Can Ravindra Jadeja make it? What is Bumrah's fitness like? So at some point, BCCI or Indian cricket will start and think, ki, okay, we need fresh blood. So from this squad, if this is the T20 squad, forget the names that have already participated or already are frontline ODI players like Hardik Pandey or Mohammad Shami, even Harshdeep Singh, I think, now that he's going to Champions Trophy, Akshar Patel. Apart from that, who do you think can really make that step up towards that ODI arena if we just talk about this squad?
Okay, in this squad, though, I would say 80% of them would or should be able to make the step up, including I'm including the captain in this. I know he's not had the best success in ODI cricket, but you look at him bat and you think that there shouldn't be any reason for him to actually not do well in 50 overs cricket. Also, he has all the shots, he has the temperament, he has the fitness, the hunger, whatever. He doesn't give the impression of being a guy who can only bat 20 overs at least. And in the Vijay Hazare, I've seen him bat a lot in Vijay Hazare and other domestic 50 over competitions, and I've seen him be in a different class to the domestic guys. So there is nothing that I have seen of Surya Kumar Yadav that makes me think that there is no way he will succeed in ODIs. And
Hmm.
yeah, so Chandresh mentioned the Varun Chakravarti point. I think we had a debate on him last time also. Gigi and Chandresh were there, and like Gigi mentioned very correctly, कि uska bowling is really good, but then the thing is about his fielding, hiding him in the field for 50 overs, and his batting does not offer you much. So is it that good that you can take him in the ODIs? And there is always now a bit of a balancing act to be there. And India has a lot of good bowlers already. So maybe that is where Varun suffers a little. But a lot of the others, like Nitish Reddy, now he has played Test cricket and he has aced T20s. There is no reason why he can't be a regular part of ODIs. Tilak Verma, he's
Yeah.
shown such amazing temperament. Rinku Singh has been doing it at the domestic level for years and years. Again, there's no reason why he wouldn't. So you look at a lot of these names and you think that, yeah, there is no reason why they can't make the step up to 50 overs cricket at least. Abhi red ball ka, that is a different ball game altogether. And that I think we'll need to have slightly different metrics to judge.
Hmm.
But as far as this team graduating to ODIs is concerned, I think pretty much everyone has a shot at doing it. And just to go back to an earlier point about Sanju Samson, we have seen obviously what the Kerala Cricket Association said, but we have heard only one side of the story, and this has been going on for years, right? Sanju
Yeah.
versus Kerala Cricket Association is
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
new fight. It has
Yeah.
just been going on and on and on. So we don't know, Abhi. It could. We have just heard one side of the thing. We don't know what is Sanju's side of it. So and to be
Well,
fair to Sanju, he hasn't really had a problem in any other setup, right? India AO, Rajasthan Royals O, Indian team O. He's not had any issues. So I think we should just be a little bit cautious in taking it at face value before we hear from him or his side.
true, true. Okay, let's take a little bit on Sanju Samson now. Let's before we move on to other topics. ठीक है, what you're saying is right. कि we haven't heard the other side of the story, and we often ignore that side of the story. What is the player side of the story? But at the end of the day, Gaurav, the diktat from Kerala Cricket Association was there कि अगर आपको विजय हजारे खेलना है, आपका एक कैंप है, आपको वो कैंप अटेंड करना है. And whatever be the issue with Kerala Cricket Association, he should have attended the camp. I think that's the bottom line, and he did not. Uh, what do you see this development as? Has this cost him an eventual spot in the Champions Trophy? लेकिन side by side वो T20 selection उसका हुआ है. It's not like it's cost him a place in the T20 squad. So was he even on the original plan for the Champions Trophy or not? Because KL Rahul has been set. Then Rishabh Pant, obviously, you want to. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप एकदम से ignore कर दोगे ऋषभ पंत को. He's such a great batter in that sense. ठीक है, वो returns white ball cricket में उतने नहीं रहे हैं. Of late, his red ball returns haven't been that great either. But आप ऋषभ पंत को एकदम से आप ignore नहीं करोगे. So Sanju Samson, he's got a fresh win in his batting career, but this whole disciplinary issue, has that put a dampener on his Champions Trophies, aspirations?
I think it definitely has. I think it has hurt his chances. But then, as Saurav said, I think his father has come out with some. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, yes.
आजकल clickbait बहुत हो गया news, so I don't know whether to believe it or not. But I think his father has come out with his side of the story, that this has been going on for years, and KC has had issues with him, and I think he will definitely move to another state from next season, which I think will be for his benefit, because he's too good a batsman to for India to lose out on because of these issues. I mean, preparatory camp में नहीं आना यार. Come on, lot of top players do miss preparatory camps. I mean, India players for their state teams. So that doesn't mean that you drop them for for the from that particular squad. I mean, he was ready to play the Vijay Hazare at the end of the day. I agree. One-line text, वगैरह, perhaps he could have been better in communicating with the Kerala selectors and the head coach and the KC in general. But then to make him suffer and to for it to its ripple effect to have in the Indian team, I think slightly थोड़ा सा वो गलत है. Considering the guy has an average of 55, and he is obviously a very serious contender for that middle order spot with Rishabh Pant particularly, and I do believe that. I think that because Gautam Gambhir has been a huge backer of Sanju Samson for a long time. अगर आप उनके पुराने ट्वीट देखें तो काफी उन्होंने संजू के लिए ट्वीट किया है कि यार इसको क्यों नहीं खिलाते हैं. तो उनको भी काफी गालियां पड़ी अभी इसमें, जब उनको नहीं लिया गया, कि आप तो पहले ट्वीट किया करते थे कि उसको खिलाओ, अब आप ही कोच बन गए, हेड कोच बन गए. तो बट आई थिंक ही वुड हैव sort of pushed for his case, but वो केस itself weak हो गया because of the whole disciplinary issue around him, and obviously Rishabh Pant, as you said, is a big name, and too good to ignore. And Rishabh was obviously rested from the T20. That's what I learned, that all the players who returned from Australia were given a rest. So that included Gill, Yashasvi, and everybody. But then all this entire lot is also playing a Ranji Trophy match from 23rd. सो वो मुझे थोड़ा सा स्ट्रेंज लगा कि अगर आप एक तरफ आप बोल रहे हैं सबको रेस्ट करने के लिए और दूसरी तरफ आप सबको रणजी मैच भी खेलने के लिए बोल रहे हैं, बट मे बी दे वांटेड टू सॉर्ट ऑफ ensure that everybody is playing cricket and domestic cricket is given that importance. But coming back to Sanju, I do feel bad for him here because the guy has played very few ODIs, has got a great average in that the limited chances that he's got. I believe I hope that this issue is sorted out because I seriously believe that if Rishabh doesn't perform up to the expectations in the white ball format and then the ODIs, then Sanju is your answer to so that slot. Especially because I mean KL is pretty much settled and pretty consistent, but Sanju is your other great option purely because he can unfold those big hits and he's in dashing form right now. He's just had two back-to-back hundreds in November against South Africa. So this is the time when you can encash, he can
Uh,
encash the T20 format to the other format.
in fact, he's at 300s, hasn't he? अगर आप Bangladesh series भी consider कर रहे हो, last
Exactly.
match,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was what 300s in 4 matches or 5 matches, something like that. He scored. Chandresh, Sanju Samson, do you think this disciplinary action has cost him his Champions Trophy squad spot?
Uh, I think it has,
Hmm.
and I think that Sanju can be a little bit of a maverick in that sense. Having dealt with him during my time at Delhi Daredevils, I can confirm that he can be a little li- not up to the mark with his communication skills. Having said that, I think Kerala Cricket Association also probably made it a issue of life and death with Sanju, and they've had these running battles with Sanju over the years. I think it will be best for Sanju if he moves to another state association, and I'm sure there will be many state associations will be keen to have a player like Sanju in their ranks. A team like Punjab, for example, could become unbeatable in domestic white ball cricket if Sanju joins them with Prab Simran Singh, Abhishek Sharma, and so on and so forth. So uh, I'm just thinking aloud that it'll be
Hmm.
great for Sanju if he moves states. But in terms of not being in the team, also, I think it's too close to the previous World Cup for the selectors to now uh, get rid of KL Rahul completely, having got him to do the donkey's work in one-day cricket since January 2020. He's been basically India's one-day wicketkeeper since January 2020 when Rishabh suffered concussion right here in Mumbai at the Wankhede Stadium. And at the other end, you have Rishabh Pant. He's too big a impactful player to not be considered in the one-day setup, even though there will be debate either side of whether he's successful in white ball cricket or not. So I think in that sense, Sanju is just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I'm sure that he'll have to find a solution for this. The next 3 months is obviously good time for him because he'll be back in his happy place with his favorite mentor Rahul Dravid working with him. But he needs to find a long-term solution to this problem. He can't let this fester for very long.
Okay. This this talk about Gill, Jaiswal, Pant, ये जो comment है, I want to take this up. एंड there's been a lot of chatter कि जब ये आएंगे हमारा जो T20 स्क्वाड है उसका लुक बिल्कुल डिफरेंट हो जाएगा. Eventually there will be a point where you say कि okay, which is your strongest 15? Now there is an IPL coming. उसमें we're going to see a lot of changes. Rishabh Pant at Lucknow, uh, you know, I think that's one of the main changes. Shreyas Iyer going to Punjab. अब ऐसा तो नहीं है कि Shreyas Iyer doesn't want to play T20 cricket for India again. So eventually you will have to pick your 15. So Saurabh, let's start with you. How important is this IPL or this run of next 3 4 months with white ball cricket, where Rishabh Pant really needs to excel, especially in the T20 format, especially in the IPL, to say, okay, boss, now you have to consider me for the T20 squad as well, where he pushes the likes of Dhruv Jurel or Sanju Samson. Same with Shubman Gill. The returns in terms of his batting numbers haven't been that great. Last year he captained Gujarat Titans. जितने रन उन्होंने उससे पिछले साल बनाए थे उतने रन नहीं आए शायद. And it's been kind of a downturn in terms of the runs that he scored if we compare with his earlier 2 3 years. From that particular sense, the likes of Gill and the likes of Pant, कितना important होने वाला है the next 2 3 months, because if those runs don't come and these guys keep on winning series, keep on scoring big. I mean, Abhishek Sharma and Sanju Samson really haven't done anything wrong, so they are at this point, अगर आज की डेट में आप पिक करोगे, these are your top two batters to go to the 2026 T20 World Cup. So yeah, Your thoughts on this? Gill, Pant, next 2 to 3 months, how important are they for the white ball cricket future?
I mean, in terms of that, I think it's more important for Gill because I think he's further back in the reckoning than
Hmm.
Pant and Jaiswal. I don't think Gill makes it to the top 15 right now as things stand. Of course,
That's a
you
big
could
statement.
have like, yeah, I don't think Gill makes it to the top 15 in India's T20 side, T20
Yeah, yeah,
cricket.
yeah.
Uh, so I would pick like Abhishek Sharma, Jaiswal, and
Sanju
Sanju
Samson. Yeah,
ahead of him as openers, and there and even if you don't you opening is the easiest job in T20 cricket. So you have enough people who even if you push them slightly higher in the order, like Tilak Verma को 3 पे खिलाया, he was fine.
yeah,
Surya Kumar Yadav was the designated number 3. Tilak Verma was fine at 3. So you don't
yeah.
really need. You need more of the guys who can bat at 5, 6,
Mm, mm.
which is more difficult, I think. So from that point of view, I think Gill has a lot more to do to overtake these guys because these guys, like you said, they have done nothing wrong and they have in fact done a lot of things right. So
Yeah.
they are in the
And you get
front of
another
the
five
queue.
matches to do more right. You get another five
Exactly.
matches to do
You
right.
get
So
another 5 matches. Yes, you do.
yeah,
And Rishabh Pant will always be in the equation, I think. It's just because, of the kind of thing he brings,
yeah.
what he can do. And that is like a very, enticing thought for, I mean, even if I was a selector, although by a strange oversight, they've never appointed me, but even if I was a selector, I would always look at Rishabh Pant as someone who I would want in my squad
Mm,
because you know what he can do.
mm.
And therefore, Rishabh Pant, I think, will always be in the frame unless he has like a really drastic downturn of form, something like, unless he has like what Rohit had in the BGT, something like that. I think he will always be in the
Yeah, he is
in
that
the
kind of a
running.
match player, and yeah, what
Yeah,
he brings to the table
and
is
he's
yeah,
left-handed. He's
that
he
angle.
can
Yes.
turn games. Yeah.
Even the Champions Trophy, it seems like agar
Hmm.
with Shubman Gill and Gigi, I want to bring you in here. अब आपने शुभमन गिल को वाइस कैप्टन बना दिया है, which makes him very hard to drop. Yashasvi Jaiswal ideally should open with Rohit Sharma, bring in that left-right pairing, and Rohit Sharma has done fabulously well with Shikhar Dhawan, etc., etc. But now that you have made Gill the vice captain, अब आप उसको drop तो नहीं करोगे ना? Unless he scores 3 ducks against England in the ODI series, then you start thinking. Like in Champions Trophy, mein, you will start with Sharma and you will start with Shubman Gill. Then eventually, आपको ultimately तो KL Rahul को drop करना पड़ेगा. Otherwise, till number 6, it's all right-handers in the Champions Trophy batting lineup, right? So this left hand, the left hand batter angle that Rishabh Pant brings, as Saurav was saying, that's very very vital. Your thoughts on this? With whether somebody like Gill and Pant can really step up in that sense in terms of
Gill to
white ball cricket.
definitely see, Gill to definitely, I think, see, there is a lot of faith in his abilities, which is why he's been appointed as the vice captain.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to the to my sources last year, and I was very clearly told that Gill को captain की तरह से देख रहे हैं future में going forward. After the T20 World Cup, and I think he was appointed captain for a tour of Zimbabwe. And so on and so forth. Unfortunately, he had a very bad BGT. Got exposed some technical problems there. And I hope he sorts them out. Because I think उनका जो England tour है वो थोड़ा खतरे में है मुझे लगता है. There are serious question marks against his ability with the red ball outside India. Especially in your Sena countries. Coming back to the white ball, I think this is a huge mark of confidence that the fact that he's been made the vice captain of the ODI team, which means he's being told that even आप T20 से भी पूरा बाहर नहीं है, आप वो frame में, which I think is right because I saw and covered a few matches of his in early 23. I think that was a breakout year for him in white ball cricket, and he smashed a brilliant 100 against New Zealand at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, which I covered. It was fabulous. He within no time he smashed 100 and he looked fresh for 150 and like that. So I think he should be kept in play. He's not somebody who will sort of play all those sort of shots like in the air and all that. But he will once he gets in, he'll do the job for you. He's a very classy batsman that way. And I think definitely more reliable than Abhishek Sharma. I still have my doubts over Abhishek Sharma. I think he's too flashy, and he will take a lot of time before he develops. Terrific prospect, but he will take time to develop. I think there's a bit of a risky punt in fact कि पांचों मैच आपने सिर्फ उनको ही वो दिया है मौका कि भाई तुम एक्सेल करो और बैकअप में आपने गिल और यशस्वी को नहीं रखा है. Because Yashasvi, I think, definitely is going to play in the T20 World Cup. There's no doubt in my mind that Yashasvi and Sanju are opening next year in that T20 World Cup. But yeah, I mean, I think they want to sort of give Abhishek a decent run.
Yeah, and Abhishek brings a lot to the table in terms of. We'll talk about that. He brings a lot on the table in terms of his bowling as well. He's somebody who can bowl a couple of overs on a decent day. If he has a good day, then he can maybe bowl more than 2 overs. And he's somebody who can use the new ball as well. So वो जो एलिमेंट है वो अभिषेक शर्मा का वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट है दैट ही bowls with the new ball as well. Chandresh, this comment from Kanan: Samson could become first choice in ODI format post the Champions Trophy because our next ODI World Cup is in South Africa. Already scored 300 in South Africa, which is one of the toughest. Well, different formats, but at the end of the day, he's right because KL Rahul 32. आपको एक सवाल ये भी आएगा कि KL Rahul can he make it to the 27 ODI World Cup, and then you are also thinking कि boss हमारे दो कीपर कौन होंगे, keeper batters going to the ODI setup. Uh, you were talking about maybe a change of domestic setup for domestic scenery for Sanju Samson. How do you see it in terms of what Kanan says in his comment?
See, having spent about 25 years around Indian cricket, I can tell you that no one in Indian cricket is looking beyond this Champions Trophy or the IPL. I think everything will happen post that. Even then, it will then depend on what happens in England. And then 27 World Cup is a way too far for us to think that far ahead in terms of Indian cricket. If it was any other setup, I would have said that they are thinking for the 2027 setup, 27 World Cup, because you don't know if the coach is going to be there till then. You don't know if the selectors are going to be there till then. So it's going to be a tough ask for everybody right now to think that far. And also in terms of Gill, I think it's a modern myth that Gill is a certainty in T20 internationals for India. Because if you see in 21, when it was T20 World Cup time, he was playing ODI cricket. In 22 also, he was only playing ODI cricket. He was not being considered for the T20 World Cup. Even last year, he was not even close to being selected in the T20 World Cup squad once it was known that Rohit and Virat are going to be there. The thing is that, like you mentioned, Chetan, Abhishek offers something more with the ball as well and on the field. I think my biggest grouse with Indian cricketers, especially in the T20 format, is if they are not doing anything more on the field with the ball. If they are extra special like Jasprit Bumrah or Mohammad Shami, then it makes sense for them to be there. But if you're doing just one thing, you need to be extra special like Bumrah or Skies with the bat. Otherwise, it's just I think it's just a waste of a spot. And Gill is anyways not as explosive like say Sanju or Yashasvi. So I don't think in my book he finds a place. He's a very good ODI cricketer, but that's different from being considered for a T20 setup. Jaiswal obviously walks in. Abhishek, you may have a debate, but maybe this year's IPL throws a few more names that the selectors can think, because I was just doing a bit of a calculation. There are roughly about 28 T20 internationals before next year's T20 World Cup that India has to play. There is enough and more opportunity for cricketers to be tried in this coming year before the T20 World Cup. And I certainly don't think Shubman Gill, in my book, fits into the T20 setup. He may fit into the ODI setup. Test setup also, I'm not so sure, but in the T20 setup, I have my doubts.
Okay, and that's these are big statements for somebody like in terms of guys who've scored some अभी थोड़े टाइम पहले ही आप बोल रहे थे कि prince of Indian cricket in that particular sense. So आप शुभमन गिल को आप एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे कि it's too early to rule him out of one format already, Chandresh. That's my point.
Because he's not been considered for 4 years, Chetan. In T20 setup, he's not
but-
played 21,
but
22, 24, T23
fine.
World Cup. He's not
See,
been
look.
considered. For him to suddenly become like a regular in T20 cricket, he only plays T20 cricket when it's a unimportant T20 bilateral series. Apart from that, when it comes to the important bilateral series or the T20 World Cups, he's nowhere close to being considered for the T20 setup. So it's
No,
very clear. If he was such a big such a big candidate for the T20 setup. He would have played the T20 World Cup in 21, 22, 24. Three T20 World Cups. He's not been even close to being considered in the T20 setup.
No, that's fine. See, sometimes people are not considered for the international T20 setup because आपके और भी जैसे अभी भी आप देख लो यशस्वी जायसवाल, ऋषभ पंत, शुभमन गिल. चलो शुभमन गिल को अगर आप एक मिनट के लिए साइड में रखो, यशस्वी जायसवाल not playing this T20 series is also down to the fact that अभी आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया से आए हो. You want to give him a bit of breathing space, and you already have a setup which is doing well in the T20 arena. So what I'm trying to say is, it was not too long ago in the IPL when Shubman Gill was setting the stage alight. So at this age, at this stage of his career, it's just a little too early to say Shubman Gill could not come back to the T20 arena. As you said, Abhi, is saal you have what 25 plus T20 matches before the T20 World Cup coming up. You combine that with the IPL, there's enough time for somebody like a Shubman Gill to make a comeback into the T20 arena. Abhi हमें रे नहीं लग रहा होगा he doesn't fit into it. My point is, you just can't shut the door on somebody like a Shubman Gill in this scenario, in this quickly, at this stage of his career. That's my only point. But again, this is a conversation that will continue to flow. Let's take a look again at the India squad. Ab kal ka jo lineups hai, England have already announced their lineup. Let's take a look at that first. Then let's take a look at the India squad और कौन हमारे कल के लाइनअप में हो सकता है. Maybe it's going to be a little different from what we did in South Africa. Phil Saul, Ben Duckett is their partnership. Josh Butler, Harry Brook, Liam Livingston, Jacob Bethel. A lot of people are excited about Jacob Bethel. Jamie Overton, Gus Atkinson, Jofra Archer, Adil Rashid, Mark Wood. That's a pace-heavy lineup. Saurabh, thoughts? Gigi, thoughts? Pace-heavy. And then, of course, the batting lineup. Such we've seen most of them in this in the IPL. We've seen almost all of them bat well in Indian conditions across formats. This is a very very strong first T20 lineup for England.
Yeah, I'll tell you who will be watching this closely. RCB fans. There's Phil Salt, Liam Livingstone, and Jacob Bethel there in the top order. They'll be really keen to see how those guys go in these the five T20s, the IPL coming up. But England on paper, in any white ball format, they have since about 2017 or so, they've been quite formidable.
Yeah.
The thing is whether that translates now. A fit
Let,
Jofra
let me just
Archer.
let me just
Yeah.
add a point B to my question. Ki now with
Hmm.
Baz coming in, Brendan McCullum coming in, do
Hmm.
you see a different element, different aspect to their white ball approach, different say from the last two ICC tournaments in the West Indies and in India? Change of coaching staff, different approach really. Go ahead.
Not really sure. I mean, they had this Brendan McCullum wala approach anyway in white ball cricket. He just
Hmm.
brought it to Test cricket. So I think it's more a question of execution. Now, you see, on paper, Jofra Archer, a fit Jofra Archer is one of the few bowlers who is the equivalent of having a Jasprit Bumrah in your side. But is Jofra Archer fit? How
Hmm.
how close to peak is he? He has not bowled much. He has been slightly on the comeback trail. He has been this thing. He's been coming, bowling more overs and all that. But you always think एक extra effort डाल के spell डालेगा, will he survive it? And if he also thinks like that, will he do that extra effort wala spell that he was doing earlier? So there is a Gus Atkinson has had like a rocket start to his career, but again, how good he will be in T20 cricket, I'm not 100% sure. Mark Wood on his day, he will run through. He will get 5 wickets in his 4 overs, but
Hmm.
he could also go for 50 runs in his 4 overs. So I I I mean, there's a lot to like about the England setup on paper for sure. They have the personnel to win 5-0, but they also have the personnel to, let's say, lose. I mean, maybe 5-0 is an exaggeration, but it could be a 4-1 result either way. Depending on
Yeah.
how England turn up. That's my only thing. And just Chandresh, just to go back to, you were talking about Sanju Samson moving to Punjab. He can move nearer south. तो Pondicherry में एक spot रख लेंगे उसके लिए.
Pondicherry will welcome him with open arms. Pondicherry have big
रेड
ambitions, big
कारपेट का
ambitions.
अरेंजमेंट करूंगा मैं, रेड
रेड
कारपेट का।
कारपेट, रेड कारपेट पूरा बैंड बारात के साथ पूरा
हाँ
उसके घर
हाँ।
से उसके घर से उठा के लेके जाएंगे संजू सैमसन को पौंडीचेरी. So there's no doubt about that. Okay,
या
Gigi, your thoughts? Pace heavy for England in this first T20. Adil Rashid, obviously a very good wrist spinner. Liam Livingston also, provides that option. But pace heavy for England. What are your thoughts on lineup? और क्या इंडिया भी इसको मिरर कर सकता है कल के मैच के लिए?
पेस हैवी तो है, देखिए पेस हैवी है, और मुझे इसीलिए डर लग रहा है कि अभिषेक शर्मा जो है वो थोड़ी ट्रबल में हो सकते हैं मार्क वुड और जोफ्रा आर्चर के जब रॉकेट अपने फायर करेंगे तो, बिकॉज जोफ्रा आर्चर आई सॉ बिट ऑफ हिम लास्ट ईयर, आई थिंक ही इज कमिंग अलोंग वेल एंड ही इज प्रीटी क्विक, आई मीन वी ऑल नो हाउ क्विक ही इज, it's a very decent pace attack, it's a very decent batting lineup also, and how Shami is able to, because see Shami will have to be straight away hit the groove against guys like Phil Salt, Ben Duckett. I'm happy to see Ben Duckett in this format. I think this is a rare case जहाँ की टेस्ट क्रिकेट में फॉर्म दिखाकर बेन डकेट जो है वो T20 टीम में आ गए हैं, and is obviously very exciting
Because he's
addition to
bought
their.
into no, because he's bought into what McCullum brings to the Test arena.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely,
battered.
absolutely.
Last year we saw
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
India as well. So he's bought into
हाँ
McCullum's
हाँ
approach. He's improved his shot
हाँ
selection, gone in the attack
हाँ.
mode. So why not, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And how Shami keeps them in check and how Shami generally bowls is also going to be very important and very closely watched.
Yeah.
Shami is now going to play a series of matches. I mean, 5 और plus 3 ODIs, 8 मैच में से at least मेरे ख्याल से 6 वो खेलेंगे going into the Champions Trophy, and he's going to be our trump card because I do not think Jasprit Bumrah will be a part of that team. I think there's a huge, there's a massive question mark on his availability right now. But this England squad looks very exciting. Liam Livingstone, Jacob Bethel, obviously bought by RCB, and exciting prospect. All in all, and I love the way England keeps producing these T20 specialists, these white ball specialists these days. Guys who are completely unpredictable. You don't know what they'll bring to the table. आदिल रशीद ने आईपीएल में हमेशा मार खाई, अब तुमको कोई खरीदता भी नहीं है, लेकिन तब भी वो T20 के बहुत अच्छे बॉलर हैं. So, and I've always wondered that how come he's never able to sort of succeed in IPL. He's always had bad IPS. Such a good T20, generally white ball
I
bowler.
think
His googly is so deadly.
with
All in
Adil
all,
Rashid, it's always been a case of he's find more comfort with with the English attack. कि जो उसके around pacers रहते हैं, he's able to find a lot of comfort bowling with them than with pacers or bowlers he doesn't know with the IPL. क्योंकि एक mindset भी होता है ना, एक आपका adjustment भी होता है. It's not always easy, and of course you also have to see what kind of pitches he's bowled on, what kind of setups he's bowled in, played in. So it's not always easy to find that comfort level. Of course, Lokesh भाई हम कल बात कर रहे थे शो पे कि it's always easy to find RCB fans. You cannot miss them. And देख लो यहाँ पे Bethel is an RCB player, of course, and obviously he bowls left arm spin as well. और अभी बिग बैश तो अच्छा खासा वो दिखा रहे हैं अपना. I think अभी recently उन्होंने he scored 80 odd and picked up 2 wickets. And also again Chandresh, again another player who can bat a bit, bowl a bit, which brings somebody like an Abhishek Sharma to the fore as well. कि boss इंडिया को ऐसे प्लेयर्स चाहिए जो बैटिंग और बॉलिंग कर सकें. बिकॉज ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट लिविंगस्टन एंड बेथल कैन बोल, आप एक स्पिनर खिला रहे हो और 4 फास्ट बॉलर खिला रहे हो. आपके पास तीन
बिल्कुल.
स्लो बॉलर तीन स्लो बॉलर तो हो ही गए. So it's a very handy thing to have players like that. Good all round balance for the England team.
Absolutely, and like Saurabh ne bataya, since 2017, I think England has cracked the white ball code. They obviously failed in the 23 ODI World Cup and last year's T20 World Cup, but I think they have finally understood what clicks for them, what will work for them in the ODI setup and also in the T20 setup. A lot of credit should go to Ewan Morgan for that, and I think that Josh Butler has been in and out because of injury, form, so on and so forth. So I think that this series is also very important for him. But it's good to see a power pack lineup. And like Saurabh and Gaurav said, that they continue to produce these kind of terrific white ball bashers, really. We see a lot of them in the SA20 and ILT20. And It's hard to think that people like Jason Roy and Alex Hales have just disappeared and been banished into the franchise leagues, whereas they have found able replacements in Phil
Yeah.
Salt and Harry Brook as well in their lineup.
Okay, Harry Brook is somebody to watch out for. I mean, he's not again another of those players who's not succeeded in the IPL for some reason. But let's see what happens here. Brendan McCullum says England will play watchful cricket in India. यार ये जब तुम खेलोगे ना तब मैं विश्वास करूंगा इस बात पे. I know it'll be a tough tour. They're taking on a very good side. We'll play what I hope is a very watchful style of cricket. आपने टेस्ट क्रिकेट में तो watchful खेला नहीं. T20s में watchful खेलोगे आप. Anyway, well, let's see what yes, what Butler says, it won't affect England's Champions Trophy preparation. It's going to be a great series, top side in our own conditions, in their own conditions. There's so much to look forward to. I'm not worried about schedules at the moment. Excited to play some games. Really exciting T20. See, England को तो काफी rest मिल गया है. I think their last series was in December, and that was also in Test cricket. So they've got some rest. It's almost like the start of the year for England. They have a very hectic schedule. They have the Ash
I
England.
think they played West Indies. Mein also they played a white ball series, na, before the
Wasn't that
New
before
Zealand.
the New Zealand tour?
But that was a separate team of theirs which went to
Separate
West
team.
Indies and
हाँ.
played.
So they've had rest. I mean, we are almost touching February now. तो एक महीने का rest आप लगा लो. England cricketers को मिल गया है, kind of. They have a big year. India is going home for a Test series and then Ashes later on, plus the Champions Trophy, etc., etc. So yeah, big year for English cricket. Let's have the India squad again and India lineup. Let's pick the India lineup for tomorrow. And guys, जो हमारे व्यूअर्स हैं वो भी भेज सकते हैं व्हाट इज देयर लाइनअप. आई मीन लुक एट दिस. संजू सैमसन, अभिषेक शर्मा, यादव, तिलक वर्मा, रिंकू सिंह, हार्दिक पांड्या, अक्षर पटेल, अर्शदीप एंड मोहम्मद शमी. चंद्रेश, रिंकू सिंह इज द बिग टॉकिंग पॉइंट. आपने जैसे कहा कि you can't really have just the one skill, and Rinku Singh
Yeah,
missed because of that last year. In the future he could miss out as well.
yeah, I think Rinku Singh will be there and thereabouts because he has a specific role in the T20 setup, but he may not feature in the 11 always because of the fact that the combination matters. I think Tilak Verma might once again seen at number 3 because we saw in South Africa he went up to Surya Kumar Yadav and said that I want to bat at number 3, and he scored 100 there. I think Varun Chakravarti will definitely find a place over here. I think now India has to find a way of whether they play a Nitish Kumar Reddy in place of a Rinku Singh in the lineup, and you get a Varun Chakravarti in, and then it's a question of they have only 3 pacers in their setup, if I'm not mistaken. Harshit Rana being the third one. So whether they bring in an extra pacer in Harshit Rana or bring in both Ravi Bishnoi and Varun Chakravarti over here because they are like out and out spinners. India has the advantage of having 3 all-rounders themselves in that sense, in Nitish Kumar Reddy, Hardik Pandya, and Akshar Patel. So that will be the big balance. I think this is more or less a very settled lineup. Obviously, next
Who
year,
are your number 8 and 9? Who are your 8 and 9?
I'm going for Ravi Bishnoi and Varun Chakravarti. And I'm
Okay.
going in for Nitish Kumar Reddy in place of Rinku Singh.
ओके मतलब पहले ही उसका पत्ता काट दिया. फ्यूचर में नहीं, आज ही काट दिया. रिंकू इज आउट ऑफ फॉर्म फॉर पास्ट 8 इनिंग्स सेज विघ्नेश राम. नहीं, अ गाय हु
उसको
बैट्स एट
बैटिंग ही नहीं मिलता.
नंबर
बैटिंग ही नहीं
7
मिलता.
जो बैटिंग करने आ रहा है, जो लास्ट की 5 बॉलें खेल रहा है, आप नहीं कह सकते हो.
Yeah.
He is out of form. You can't judge that. Sports fan says Shivam Dube has been dropped. Wasn't he injured? Wasn't there
No,
an
he's
injury?
playing Mumbai, Ranji Trophy for Mumbai from
Okay, so
23rd.
Nitish Reddy should start in. Why isn't he picked in the T20 arena then?
He's not been considered. Gigi, your sources should be able to tell you.
See? This is
You're talking
Gigi
about you're talking about Shivam Dube, right?
Dube, yeah.
Nitish has, I
Dube has
think,
been dropped.
overtaken
Dube has
him.
been dropped. Shivam
Dube
Dube has
has
been
been-
dropped. Shivam Dube has been dropped. They have a better version of him in Nitish Kumar Reddy, who
Yeah.
just had a fabulous tour of Australia. Shivam Dube, his bowling is a concern. Obviously, batting obviously big hits
Bold man.
मारते हैं और वो सब है. Plus, I think injury से आ रहे हैं और वो सब है.
Injury
Could
था.
not play for the major part of the domestic season for Mumbai.
Yeah.
So all those issues were there with him. Obviously, if he has a great IPL, then he throws his hat again in the ring. There's now a healthy competition for the second T20 all-rounder slot between him and NKR, where NKR is ahead at the moment. But then, if
I don't think
Dube
there's
has
a-
a great IPL for CSK, then Shivam could overtake him. So I think, but I think Nitish Kumar Reddy पे थोड़ा invest करेंगे selectors going forward.
Okay.
He is obviously the sort of a future star if you look at it
Okay.
going forward in all 3 formats.
I don't think there is a competition. I think Nitish Reddy hands down has a spot in the playing 11, hands down. Especially अगर
The
आपको
left-hander and the ability to smash the spinners for sixes will always keep Dubey in the hunt. He's done that for CSK for the last
yeah,
3-4 years.
again,
So
again, how much bowling has Dubey done? आप उसको वेस्ट इंडीज भी लेकर गए थे, वहां पे भी उसने इतना bowling नहीं किया ना. वो सीएस के लिए भी इतना bowling नहीं करता है. So international level पे how much bowling has Shivam Dubey really done? And ठीक है, spin को hit करने का ability है, but then you can also say कि यार top 4-5 can also do that as well. Maybe not in as ballistic way, लेकिन वो हमें देखना पड़ेगा. अब आप उस जैसे
देखिए
संजय
सिक्स सिक्स जो 110 मीटर जाए या 90 मीटर जाए, 6 ही है.
सिक्स ही
सो
है, right? Yeah. तो
so,
एब्सोल्युटली सो आपको ये देखना है ना कि आप उसको कैसे बैलेंस करोगे. अगर आपको नितिश रेड्डी मिल रहा है जो आपको 2 ओवर दे सकता है एंड ही कैन बैट एट नंबर 7 और नंबर 8 एंड ही इज नॉट समबडी हु इज नॉट बैलिस्टिक यार. वो भी क्या लंबा छक्के टांगे हैं उसने भी. लाइक सौरभ सेड, छक्का तो छक्का है ना. वो 90 मीटर का आपको 7 रन नहीं मिलेगा, 80 मीटर्स का आपको 6 रन नहीं मिलेगा. सो इट्स नॉट अ डिफरेंशिएशन देयर. सो आई थिंक नितिश रेड्डी इज अ श्योर शॉट स्टार्टर. क्योंकि
yeah,
अगर आप
for me
इंग्लैंड,
also.
या क्योंकि अगर आप इंग्लैंड के साथ कंपेयर करो, नन ऑफ देयर 4 फास्ट बॉलर्स, maybe Jofra Archer, maybe one other guy, maybe they can throw their bat around. लेकिन हमारे
Jamie
4 फास्ट
Overton
बॉलर्स,
can.
Jamie,
Jamie
yeah,
Gus
Overton can.
Atkinson can also bat.
uh, I mean,
Oh
do they
yeah.
really bat that deep until number 9? I don't know. Anyway, my point is हार्दिक पांड्या और नितिश रेड्डी वो आपको बैटिंग डेप्थ दे रहे हैं. दे आर गिविंग यू दोस व्हाट 6 overs at best. 6 overs at best वो आपको दे रहे हैं आराम से between the two of them. So I think that's a good exchange. Saurabh, number 8, number 9, and also do you agree that Rinku Singh abhi se hi bahar when
नहीं
that he
नहीं,
played already?
I mean, I just like Rinku. I think he does a really tough job. I think he was
Hmm.
very unfortunate not to be in the T20 World Cup
Yeah.
11. So just for those non-analytical reasons, I would keep him. But for analytical reasons also, in the sense that Rinku is doing the toughest job that there is. So like you said earlier, that you can't judge his failures for a guy who's coming in so late in the innings and has so little time to make an impact. You can't judge it the same way as you judge a top order batter. So I would keep Rinku. The 8 and 9 would be Nitish and I think Varun. Varun would be, I think, the a good bet to slightly make the England batsman uncertain.
Hmm.
So Nitish, because he would give you batting depth till great depth till number 8. I mean, he'll probably bat ahead of Akshar depending on matchups. This that to be. But basically, you have great batting depth till number 8, and then you have an Arshdeep who has suddenly discovered a batter in him at number 9, and then Shami and Varun. Yeah, I would
Okay.
have those two.
Okay. Murli कह रहे हैं कि Nitish has the spark for the next big thing in Indian cricket. I agree. I thought कि Champions Trophy में भी Nitish Reddy होते तो that would have been, especially because we're taking only 3 full-time pacers in Champions Trophy. So it would have been interesting in that particular sense. Um, okay, I think we've pretty much covered tomorrow's T20 and the series, and we'll obviously continue. And tomorrow there will be a preview of the first match as well. But there's another story that is playing up big. Can we have that? Virat Kohli to play domestic cricket finally. Story है. अब कौन मतलब our own Sahil Malhotra has written it, and it's on every channel, to be honest, not just UI. Sahil Malhotra has written it 4 times of India. Set to play Delhi's final Ranji Trophy match after resting from a neck sprain. He confirms his availability. He will join other notable players returning from their respective state teams ahead of international series. Comments. Your thoughts, guys, on this? Let's start with you.
Well, I think the story broke out yesterday evening by a reporter who was actually very close to Virat Kohli on tour. This is actually pretty much, I mean, expected, I think, because there has been a bit of a diktat from the selectors. जितना भी ऑन रिकॉर्ड बोले, मुझे लगता है कि बीसीसीआई से बहुत क्लियर डायरेक्टिव गया है कि भाई आपको चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी खेलना पड़ेगा. सॉरी, आपको रणजी ट्रॉफी खेलना पड़ेगा. You will have to play, ये राउंड आप मिस करके कोई बात नहीं, आप नेक्स्ट राउंड खेलिए. Which is why I think KL Rahul and Virat Kohli both are playing the match on 30th, the next match for their state teams. तो आई थिंक और विराट कोहली का थोड़ा सा क्यूरियस हो गया था मामला, क्योंकि वो अलीबाग आ जा रहे हैं अपनी फैमिली के साथ में, वहां पर उन्होंने गृह प्रवेश किया, नया घर लिया है, वो सब है, और उसके बीच में वो नेक्स्ट प्लेन वाली बात आ रही है। मैंने जितना पता किया, अब ये चल रहा था कि उनका ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मेन एक्सपीरियंस से वो परेशान हो रहे थे। फ्रॉम व्हाट आई हर्ड देयर वाज नथिंग लाइक दैट, एवरीथिंग वाज फाइन इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया। ही प्लेड इन द फाइनल टेस्ट विदाउट एनी डिस्कम्फर्ट एंड एवरीथिंग. So I think the board has sort of cracked the whip right now, if I may use the word, that boss आप खेलिए डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट, और आप रणजी ट्रॉफी खेलिए, 2012 से आप खेले नहीं है। तो आई थिंक इट्स हाई टाइम। सचिन तेंदुलकर जो रिटायर होके और एक मतलब लेजेंड बन के, और बेचारे वो 10 साल उनको
Yeah,
रिटायर
that's
हुए हो गए,
very
10 से ज्यादा
that's an
साल।
amazing
तो
stat,
उन्होंने
isn't it?
2013 में खेला, आपने 2012 में खेला है लास्ट रणजी
Yeah,
ट्रॉफी। तो आई
that's
थिंक
one of the that's one of the most amazing stats that Sachin Tendulkar has played domestic cricket recently than Virat Kohli. You know, Sandesh, do you see this happening? Virat Kohli playing domestic cricket?
I never thought that it would happen, and I think it's finally happened. I think full credit to the BCCI, especially the selectors, for cracking the whip. Uh, but I don't.
By the way, it is yet to happen. अभी तो सिर्फ news आया है. It is yet to happen. He hasn't played it.
नहीं होगा,
There
डेफिनेटली होगा।
So,
Okay.
so if he's going to play, and Rohit's going to play from day after tomorrow, and all the other boys are also going to play from day after tomorrow, which means that, but this can't be like an odd occasion that these guys are playing.
Yeah.
Whenever there's an opportunity, they need to be made. You can't have one rule for Shreyas Iyer and Ishan Kishan and another rule for the big boys. So
Yeah.
if you made an example out of Shreyas Iyer and Ishan Kishan last year, you need to after that, both of them. I don't think Gigi can correct me. I don't think they have missed anything. Even if they are called to play in Dombivli or Kandivli in Mumbai, they have turned up to play for
कुछ बाबू
those.
पे खेले उसके बाद चंद्रेश वो लोग।
हाँ. So but as in like the fear was put into their mind, so they ended up going and playing Ranji domestic cricket. So I hope that people like Virat, KL Rahul, not out of spite, but out of the fact that you need to set an example. But they needed to have put them on notice right at the start of the season, when they should have made all these big boys play the Dulip Trophy. I think they missed a trick there. If they had made them play the
Yeah,
Dulip Trophy
definitely.
right at the
Yeah.
season, the stone would have been set for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think that we have discussed n number of times on this show कि श्रीलंका में जो टीम बॉन्डिंग एक्सरसाइज हुई है उसकी जगह पे आपको दिल्ली ट्रॉफी खिलाना चाहिए था. That would have helped them lead into the home series as well with the test matches जहाँ पे unfortunately India lost against New Zealand. So okay, big news. Let's see if and when this happens. 30th is the Ranji Trophy match. 30th, 31st, 1st, 2nd, 2nd Feb. 5th Feb is the first ODI. So you are
Sixth.
reporting.
6th Feb.
Oh yeah, 6th Feb is the first ODI. So you are reporting in Nagpur on 3rd. So yeah, still a couple of days. So this could very well happen. It'll be clearly an event, once in a decade kind of event. Let's see when it happens. Big news. And on that note, we will end today's show. We'll come back with the preview tomorrow for the first T20. Thanks to all our viewers for watching our show today. For all your comments, we could take as many comments as possible, as many relevant comments as possible. Chandresh Narayan, Saurabh Somani, and Gaurav Gupta, thank you so much for your company today. Hope to see you guys on the show again. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and do like if you liked our show. Thank you.